एंड पार्टी प्लानर बनने के लिए अब आपको ये पार्टी प्लान करना है. सो नाउ यू विल टेल मी how are you going to go about planning this birthday party? Come on, ask me as many questions as you have in mind. Share your ideas with me as to what are you going to do, how are you going to go about planning this birthday party for any person XYZ it could be. I'm sure you might be having a series of questions in your mind. There might be many doubts. So come on, start shooting those doubts.
Yes, ma'am.
One time, one person at a time. Okay? Yes.
Ma'am, the party is online or offline?
अच्छा, पार्टी ऑनलाइन है कि ऑफलाइन है? सुपर, ठीक है. और
मैम, हुआ द गेस्ट
गेस्ट
Guest
होने
list.
वाले. ठीक है, चलो. और
Theme of the
पहली
party. Theme
Sorry?
theme of the party. Theme
अच्छा,
of the birthday party.
थीम ऑफ द बर्थडे पार्टी. ठीक है. और कोई सवाल है? चलो जल्दी जल्दी. इतने ही बच्चे हैं मेरी क्लास में. सॉरी.
Decide the menu, ma'am.
अच्छा, you have to decide the menu. Okay, fine.
Place,
and the venue.
Sabia,
as well.
Sabia,
Venue,
how to do
venue.
decoration.
One second. Sabia, you were saying something?
Yes, ma'am. The place.
The place. Okay. How to do the decoration? किसने पूछा?
Me, ma'am. Pooja.
पूजा ने पूछा है. ठीक है. और कोई सवाल है? डेकोरेशन क्या होगा, प्लेस क्या होगी, ऑनलाइन है, ऑफलाइन है, खाना क्या होगा?
Birthday
Playlist.
बर्थडे किसका है? बर्थडे किसका है से आपका मतलब क्या है बेटा? क्या
Because maybe while planning some surprises, तो जिसका बर्थडे है उनको जो शायद पसंद हो, अगर हमें वो पता है तो it'll be easier for us to plan.
अच्छा, ठीक है. और कुछ?
Ma'am, birthday gifts.
अभी मेरा रहेगा तो फिर उस हिसाब से बच्चे उस हिसाब से गिफ्ट लाएंगे ना.
हाँ, that's right, absolutely. ठीक है.
हाँ, नहीं तो सोचे कि बच्चे की
चलो,
तरह
तो
भी
इसका
करें.
मतलब बहुत जरूरी ये भी है कि आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि लड़के का बर्थडे पार्टी है कि लड़की का बर्थडे पार्टी है. राइट? मतलब यात्सर का बर्थडे पार्टी है तो जाहिर सी बात है ना, आप एवेंजर्स का सेट या हैरी पॉटर का कुछ सेट तो नहीं लेके आओगे. राइट? तो आंसर के लिए शायद रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी की बुक लेके आएंगे सब. राइट? सो इट आल्सो डिपेंड्स लार्जली.
बहुत हो गया रिसर्च, अभी नहीं करना.
ठीक है, चलो रिसर्च नहीं तो कुछ और. ओके,
बट रामायण लेके आई हैं तो गरुड़.
come again, I didn't get you.
That is रामायण या गरुड़.
अरे, oh my god.
अभी क्या लगता है, माला लेके लेते हिमालय पे भेजने का विचार है क्या?
Okay, ठीक है. So there are many questions that are there in your mind and they are quite haphazard ना. जब मैंने आपको बोला कि चलो बर्थडे पार्टी प्लान करो तो आप लोग सब लोग lost हो. There are many questions that's coming to your mind and you know until unless ये questions answer नहीं होंगे, आपका बर्थडे पार्टी आप अच्छे से प्लान नहीं कर पाओगे. Am I right, Alita? ठीक है. तो एलिटा ने कहा कि मुझे आप बताओ किस बेसिस पे मुझे ये बर्थडे पार्टी प्लान करना है. तो मैं आपको ये फोटोग्राफ्स दिखाती हूँ. अब इस फोटो को ध्यान रखते हुए what would your plan be for this birthday party? युवरानी,
Yes, ma'am.
बताओ आपका प्लान क्या रहेगा? How will you plan this birthday party?
Ma'am, will decide the dress code, the place, and it
इस
depends
पिक्चर
upon.
को ध्यान रखते हुए ना. So what would your dress code be?
हाँ, like ये image को देख के like all the girls will be wearing like Cinderella dresses.
Okay, fine. So you might be having gown as the dress code or
Yeah.
formals as the dress code for the children.
For the-
Fine. और क्या हो जाएगा? आपका activities क्या plan करेंगे आप? Priyanka, you want to say something? Sabya, you wanted to say something? You had unmuted yourself.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Can I?
Some games related to the attire, like maybe beading of the necklace or something like that,
Absolutely.
or passing the
ठीक है.
crown, something.
Okay, ठीक है. And ये पिक्चर पे देखो, ये आपको क्या लगता है किसकी बर्थडे पार्टी है?
1
What is
year,
the
2 years
age group?
old.
What is the age group of the child?
Ma'am, 6 or
Between
7
5
years
to
old.
6 or 7 years of age, right? And who is it? Is it a girl or a boy?
a girl.
Girl.
It's a girl, right? Now you can effectively plan out कि आप क्या क्या उस birthday party में करेंगे, right from the decoration to the dress code to the cake to the activities that you're planning and also the return gifts. With the help of this one picture, you can plan it out effectively. Am I right or not?
Yes, ma'am.
So students, was the second task that I gave you easier or was the first task easier?
Second one.
Why was the second task easier? What made the second task more easier?
The picture made it more easier for us to understand that for whom is the birthday party and how do we have to go about it.
Exactly. Without that picture, we were all lost. Am I right? And Elita used a word for this particular picture. Elita, can you please repeat what you had said?
The theme, ma'am, the theme.
It is the theme of the party that made the task very, very simple. So once the theme was clear, the ideas easily started flowing, right? There was no confusion. There was much more clarity in your planning, right? So the theme is very, very important for planning any birthday party. So what are we learning in today's class? Is it about how to plan a birthday party? Terry, are we learning that? Hanisha, Yuvrani?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are learning
im-
how to plan a birthday party, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're learning that.
Ma'am, I feel
ma'am.
No,
we are
ma'am.
learning how to teach
How to
students
plan
by
things.
giving appropriate clues.
How to
Okay,
plan a
that's
lesson according to the
absolutely.
theme.
It is all about how to make your lesson nothing less than a party. And when I look at some of your lesson plans, which I believe all other teachers will also agree, some of you plan your lessons in such a way that it is a party for your students. So teaching is nothing, but it's like planning a party. जितना आप मजेदार एक्टिविटीज उसमें डालोगे, जितना आप एंथुसियाज्म लेवल बच्चों का बढ़ाओगे उस प्लानिंग से, उतना बच्चे को मजा आएगा. Imagine a dull birthday party when the child enters and there's just some music playing in the background, and then you ask the students to cut the cake, the children to cut the cake, eat your cake and go. Will they enjoy it? But if you put in a lot of activities, if there is good comparing, if there's a lot of activity given to the children while enjoying that birthday party, there are many magic shows and there is a wow factor in your birthday party, surely the students or the children who are there in your birthday party will enjoy it. Okay? So teaching is just like planning a good birthday party. And how do you ensure that this planning is effective? Well, by selecting a theme. Your theme is nothing but a central idea which you have in mind, and around the central idea, you can keep developing the content from various lessons. So you can teach history in that one particular class, keeping the theme in mind. You can teach n number of subjects like history, science, math, English, geography, so on and so forth. And that is what we are going to learn in our today's class, that is theme-based teaching. So in your semester 3, apart from your 10 lessons that you are expected to deliver, you are supposed to give additional 5 lessons. Out of these 5, 2 are theme-based lessons. Am I clear with this? So today we are going to look at a demo of a theme-based lesson planned by Surekha ma'am. So Surekha ma'am, will you please start?
Yes, ma'am. So just a minute.
I'll just stop my screen sharing.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Just a minute. Okay, so before I share anything, I want to ask you, take your mind, some years back, think that you are in the year 2000. So this is year 2000, and it's evening time and you are going, to the market with your mother, and every day you go to the market to buy some vegetables. Now just take your mind there and imagine the market scene and tell me what are the vegetables that you see in the market in the year 2000 में क्या क्या वेजिटेबल्स से मिलते थे आपको मार्केट में क्या क्या दिखता था
करेला, फ्लावर,
okay, what else
cabbage, आलू, टमाटर,
cabbage आलू टमाटर
Palak
okay
methi, like fenugreek.
पालक, मेथी, सेपू, लाल
Ma'am,
मार्च,
all except those exotic vegetables. All except those exotic vegetables that we get these
Except
days.
broccoli.
so is
Except
it
broccoli.
something like
and red and yellow capsicums. वो भी नहीं मिलते थे.
Zucchini and ये अभी अभी आया है ज्यादा.
yeah, can you see my screen now? There is a little bit of a
Yes,
network
yes,
glitch, so it will be late. Okay, so these are some of the vegetables that you see normally, like bhindi, aloo, kanda, or bengan. ये सब in the year 2000 में. Now come back to the year 2021 and tell me what are the vegetables that you see now in the market. Your mother tells you that चल ठीक है आज मैं तेरे पसंद का खाना बनाती हूँ एंड पसंद का बोला तो पिज्जा पास्ता सब आ गया दिमाग में एंड वो मम्मी बोलती है जा जो भी सब्जी चाहिए वो लेकर आ. You go to the market. Tell me what are the different vegetables that you see in the market?
Broccoli, zucchini, green and yellow capsicums, small cherry tomatoes, beans, some different kinds of, lots of.
Wonderful, wonderful. So somewhere we can say that the market looks like this. You see all colorful, you see asparagus, you see avocados, you see so many different things जिसका नाम प्रोनाउंस करना बहुत मुश्किल होता था. वो तो बड़े प्रैक्टिस के साथ avocado and asparagus आ रहा है अभी, बट पहले वो सब भी नहीं होता था. So this is the scene that the difference that you see in the market in all these years. Now, does do these vegetables come every day from, obviously these are not Indian vegetables. Some are not Indian vegetables like asparagus and avocados and all those things. So क्या ये रोज बाहर से आता है? Is it imported every day from different countries? Yes.
No.
Can you all hear me?
Alternate days.
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Alternate days आता है.
In month
I
time,
feel there
like
would
after
be,
1-2 months.
ma'am, there would be people who have started growing it here in itself.
Yes, I think Pranita has a little bit more idea about the market. So that is very true that बार import करना and somewhere now लोगों को पता चल गया था जो market में जो बेचते हैं, they realize that there is a growing demand for pizzas, pastas and lasagnas and nowadays, and so there is an increasing demand for all these exotic vegetables like broccoli and zucchini, asparagus, and ये सब के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा demand है. So instead of importing it again and again, उन लोगों ने क्या किया? उन लोगों ने ये सब सब्जियों को ग्रो करना शुरू किया. यहीं पे हमारे ही कंट्री में वो लोगों ने ग्रो करना शुरू किया. आपको लगता है अगर यहाँ पे ग्रो नहीं करते तो हमको डेली इतने ब्रोकली मिलते? 20-30 रुपए में इतना बड़ा ब्रोकली मिलता? आपको लगता है? पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. 20-30 रुपए में ब्रोकली मिलना पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. लेकिन because of these people who started growing these exotic vegetables in our own country, we are getting such exotic vegetables at cheaper rates also. So these people who who bring up who think in a different way and who are trying to reach the consumers at a larger space, and also thinking about earning profits at the same time, they are called as entrepreneurs. An entrepreneur is an individual who creates a new business bearing most of the risks and enjoying most of the rewards. अब यही चीज अगर ब्रोकली वगैरह अगर 20 साल पहले कोई ग्रो करता तो इतना सेल होता क्या? आपको लगता है लोग इतना खरीदते?
No, ma'am.
ब्रोकली तो जैसे जैसे टाइम बढ़ता है वैसे रिस्क लेते हैं एंड वैसे आइडिया करके ये लोग नए नए बिजनेस स्टार्ट करते हैं एंड this you know this innovation, this ideas, this generation of new ideas and providing goods and services, all these put together are the qualities of a good are qualities that we call as entrepreneurship. So students, in our class today, we shall see why this entrepreneurship is an important quality that we should have, and some more different aspects of, we'll see some more important aspects of entrepreneurship. Now tell me, what are the different kinds of business organizations that you know about? Can you keep your video on? I can't see anyone. Okay, so tell me, क्या क्या different types के businesses आपको दिखते हैं या आपको पता है? Different types of businesses that you know of. These are all basic questions.
Sole trading
wala
concern,
business.
partnership firm,
Trading,
small
partnership
scale.
firm, small scale businesses, sole trading concern. Someone said something else?
Multinational companies as a part of it, ma'am? No.
Yes, it is
Okay.
a part of joint stock companies, so that can also come. So there are different kinds of business organizations, from sole trading concern to partnership to joint Hindu family and limited liability partnership, joint stock company. All these are different kinds of business organizations. Now tell me, ये पान वाला जो शॉप होता है, पान शॉप देखा है ना, पान वाले का दुकान देखा है, इतना छोटा सा होता
Yes,
है.
ma'am.
Now what kind of a business is that? Is it a partnership or is it a multinational company?
It's a small scale
Ma'am, it's
business,
sole
ma'am.
trading, small
Sole
scale.
trading.
Sole trading.
ma'am.
And
The
small
sole,
scale.
he's a sole trader. He is the only person who is, doing the whole business and he is earning all the profits and everything. So he's a sole trader. Now, you just imagine that you are a panwala and you want, you want to start, either you want to start a business or you want your business to excel. No, you want to, earn more profits. Now think what will be the different techniques that you will use to make your business successful. Come on. सोचो तुम लोग पान वाला हो and you want to extend your business or you want to earn more profits. What will be your solution towards that?
Advertising.
Some
Advertising.
special offer, ma'am. Some special offer.
Ma'am,
Okay. What offer
some
pan
special
wala ki?
pan.
Yeah, special pan
Special
or one-on-one free or something like that.
Okay, one-on-one free special pan. Can you tell me अब ये ममता तुम सोचो तुम पान वाला हो, अभी स्पेशल पान बोलोगे तो फिर कहाँ से किसको क्या समझ में आएगा कि क्या स्पेशल है? अब मैं आपके पास आ रही हूँ कि भैया ये स्पेशल पान है क्या? आप बोल तो रहे हो स्पेशल है, बट ये क्यों स्पेशल? आप क्लियरली बताओ
Ma'am,
जरा क्या है ये?
मैम लाइक चॉकलेट, किसी को चॉकलेट पान पसंद है तो आई विल प्रोवाइड चॉकलेट पान. देन आजकल तो आइसक्रीम पान भी निकले हैं तो आइसक्रीम पान इज आल्सो देयर, तो आई विल प्रोवाइड वैरायटी ऑफ पान. तो
Very
these
tasty.
I think Mamta will reach heights with pan ka shop, huh? Definitely,
And ma'am,
Mamta.
we have like fire pan, pani puri flavors pan,
Miss,
imli
very
tea pan
tasty.
is available, and we have lots of variety of pan, sweet pan, बच्चों के लिए like candy type के उसके अंदर cherries and बहुत सारे varieties. We have lots of
बच्चों के लिए
types.
तो एक कुछ बनाना जरूरी होता है बिकॉज नहीं तो वो लोग भी पान मांगेंगे. तो these are very good ideas that you came about. So if you see अभी ये छोटा बिजनेस, एक पान वाले का दुकान कितना सा होता है, मतलब हम उधर बेड खड़े भी नहीं रह सकते, उतना छोटा सा उसका दुकान होता है, लेकिन वो दुकान को भी सक्सीड करने के लिए बहुत कैपेबिलिटीज है. So if you see every business, be it small or be it big, be it sole trading or a joint stock company, every kind of business needs entrepreneurship. Every kind of business needs innovation, they need creativity, they need risk-taking abilities. ये सब जो qualities entrepreneurship में आता है, ये सब हर एक kind of business के लिए जरूरत होती है. So वैसे ही एक और example है. Do you all know हल्दीराम? हल्दीराम पता है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
बात करते करते I forgot to change the slide. So Haldiram, ये जो owner, ये these are the founders of Haldiram, the business Haldiram, and you know what? When he started, his name is Ganga Bisan Agarwal, and he was fondly called as Haldiram by his mother. And initially he used to work with his father in a namkeen shop. एक छोटा सा namkeen shop था, namkeen and sweet shop था, जहाँ पे वो ऐसे नुक्कड़ कोने पे होते वैसा like shop था. And वो लोग भुजिया बेचते थे, which was very famous, which was his aunt's recipe. But due to some family dispute, he left his home with his wife, and then he started selling moong dal namkeen on the streets, which was made by his wife. Slowly, you know, वो जब काम करने लगा तो उसने 1946 में, if you see 1937, even before India got independence, तब से ये हल्दीराम का बिजनेस चल रहा है. बट 1946 में उसने खुद का एक बिजनेस, खुद का एक शॉप खोला, एंड वहां पे वो बीकानेरी भुजिया सेल करने लगा. बट उसने क्या किया, वो भुजिया जो उसके आंट का रेसिपी था उसको मॉडिफाई किया, उसने उसमें मटकी का फ्लावर ऐड किया एंड उसको थिन बनाया and उसको बेचना शुरू किया. Now his sale increased and his income increased and he started making profits. So once what happened is he visited Kolkata for a wedding and उसको ऐसे लगा कि मैं यहाँ पे भी एक दुकान खोल देता हूँ. तो वैसे he started slowly opening different branches in different states and places, and he was later joined by his sons and grandsons. Now this Haldiram जो इतना बड़ा एक empire है आज, it was actually a joint Hindu family business. So if you see, एक छोटा से छोटा family business को भी अगर proper innovation, proper creativity and risk taking ability लिया जाए तो वो भी इतना बड़ा एक empire हो सकता है. So just imagine, ये हल्दीराम जो है, if he didn't have the quality of entrepreneurship, अगर जब उसका फैमिली में जब वो डिस्प्यूट हुआ एंड वो घर छोड़ के आ गया, एंड इफ ही हैड थॉट कि नहीं मैं कोई दुकान में काम कर लूंगा एंड कैसे ना कैसे दो बार का रोटी कमा लूंगा एंड हम सब खुश रहेंगे, तो डू यू थिंक दिस हल्दीराम जो हम लोग इतना एंजॉय करके खाते हैं वो हमको मिलता आज? डू यू थिंक वो होता आज?
नो मैम,
पॉसिबल ही नहीं होता. जस्ट इमेजिन, वो जो भुजिया हम जो इतने खुशी खुशी से खाते हैं, इतना टेस्टी होता है वो उसने वो उसको इनोवेशन करके उसने वो थिन बना के, वो थिननेस एंड वो टेस्ट ही तो उसका बेस्ट क्वालिटी है, बिकॉज वो जैसे मुंह में डालो वो पिघलने लगता है. सो एंड इतना बारीक सा है, इट यू नो जेल्स विद एवरीथिंग. सो जस्ट इमेजिन, अगर ये होता ही नहीं, अगर हल्दीराम जी अगर खुद ये इनोवेशन नहीं लाते तो आज ये भुजिया इतनी फेमस ही नहीं होती. सो इफ यू सी, whatever type of business हो, कोई भी टाइप ऑफ बिजनेस हो, जॉइंट हिंदू हो या एक जॉइंट स्टॉक कंपनी हो, कोई भी हो, innovation, creativity, entrepreneurship is very much necessary. Now you saw how, you know, हल्दीराम जी ने कैसे you know अपना बिजनेस जो छोटा सा दुकान से शुरू करके इतना बड़ा एक एम्पायर खड़ा किया. Now, you know what? Entrepreneurship is not only helping Haldiram ji, it is not only helping shopkeepers and businessmen, but it is also helping housewives in starting up their businesses. Have you all heard something? You know, ये जो मैंने लाइन बोला है उससे कुछ पहचाना लगता है? कुछ सुना है ऐसे रिलेटेड जहाँ पे हाउसवाइफ्स ने मिलके कुछ स्टार्ट किया है?
Ma'am, that Lijjat Papad.
Ma'am, Lijjat Papad.
Absolutely. So this Lijjat Papad, this was started by 7 Gujarati women from Jabalpur. These women lived in Lohana Niwas, a group of 5 buildings in Girgaon. उन लोगों ने डिसाइड किया that ये जो हम जैसे हम रह रहे हैं ना, that is not enough. We need to do something more. But the only skill they had was cooking. So what they did, they used that skill in such a way that they earned so much, and they are, you know, making name across the world. So these women borrowed rupees 80 from Chhaganlal Karamsi Parekh, a member of the Servants of India Society and a social worker. They took a loss-making papad-making venture from Lakshmidas Bhai and brought necessary items or ingredients and a basic infrastructure required to manufacture papad. अब पापड़ के लिए क्या जरूरत होता है, जो भी चीजें जरूरत होती है वो लिया एंड एक छोटा सा जगह ऑर्गेनाइज किया. So वो लोगों ने क्या किया, they gathered on a terrace and they started making papads. They started with 4 packets of papads. So this is how, you know, this Lijjat Papad, this big enterprise started. They started selling papads to a known merchant in Bhuleshwar. From the beginning, the women had decided that they would not approach anyone for donations or help, even if the organization incurred losses. भले कुछ भी हो जाए, बट हम किसी से भीख नहीं मांगेंगे, हम किसी से डोनेशन नहीं लेंगे. हम जो भी करेंगे हम मेहनत का खाएंगे, मेहनत करेंगे एंड देन पैसा कमाएंगे. This Chhaganlal Parekh, known as, you know, who was known as Chhagan Bappa, became their guide. So initially what happened was these women were making 2 qualities of papad. एक inferior quality जो cheaper rate पे था और एक good quality मतलब standard quality जो थोड़ा price higher था. बट छगन बापा ने बोला कि देखो ये ऐसा मत बनाओ, आप ऐसे करोगे तो आपका सेल कभी नहीं होगा. क्यों नहीं होगा, क्यों लगता है आपको ये करना गलत है, ऐसे 2 क्वालिटी बनाना, इंफीरियर एंड सुपीरियर?
मीन आप कम लो क्वालिटी का भी आप प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हो, which is wrong, maybe.
Which is wrong, absolutely. लो क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट बना ही क्यों रहे हो, भले वो inferior quality बना ही क्यों रहे हो? So he suggested that you don't do that. You make one standard quality of papad and do not compromise on the quality. They listened to him, and within 3 months, their papad making organization became, you know, a big one. Like 25 women joined them, and they started buying new equipments like utensils, cupboards, stoves. बीच में तो एक बार ऐसे भी हुआ कि बारिश की वजह से we had to stop the production for 3 months. But then later what they did was they started the next year what they started is उन लोगों ने roof लगाया, वो लोगों ने एक bed लगाया जहाँ पे utensils रख सकते हैं, स्टव रख सकते हैं, so that वो बारिश से बचे, पानी अगर चढ़े तो भी वो problem ना हो. So in the first year the organization's annual sale was 6,196. And the broken papads जो भी थे उन लोगों ने आजू बाजू में neighbors को, you know, वो distribute करना शुरू किया. By the year 2002, Lijjat had a turnover of 3 billion and exported rupees 100 million worth papad, and it employed 42,000 people in 62 divisions of overall all over the country. And in 2003, they also, you know, received the Best Village Industry Institution. Don't you think this is, you know, such a great inspirational story? Don't you think? This is not just a story, but this is something that is, you know, real life. You are saying people, you are saying women. You know, normally when we say जब business की बात आती है तो हम हमेशा आदमियों को ही सोचते हैं कि एक आदमी है, उसी के पास क्वालिटीज है बिजनेस चलाने का. इन लोगों के पास स्किल था कुकिंग का, बट अगर इनके पास एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप नहीं होता तो ये ग्रो ही नहीं. अगर इनके पास एक एडवाइजर या एक गाइड नहीं होता तो उनको वो, यू नो, वो राइट डायरेक्शन पे लाना बहुत मुश्किल होता. सो दिस इफ यू सी this is how, you know, the entrepreneurship, you know, it is a quality which can make people, simple housewife who just know to cook, they can also become great entrepreneurs at a great level. So now that you know about this Lijjat Papad and Haldiram, now I want you to answer how do you think this quality of entrepreneurship creates job opportunities? Yes.
Ma'am, like in the Lijjat, the business of the papad, पहले I think वो 2 लोग ही थे जो ये कर रहे थे, लेकिन जैसे उनका बिजनेस बढ़ गया, they needed more manpower और उसकी वजह से employment बढ़ गया ना.
Absolutely. If you see in the slide itself, they started with 7, but जैसे जैसे business शुरू हुआ, जैसे 3 महीने में जैसे जैसे उनका sales बढ़ने लगा, वैसे 25 women, and in 2002 there were 42,000 people. So just imagine the number of women who are employed, women, not only women but people who are employed with this organization, and they you know, they are all earning something. they are earning a livelihood out of this, you know. So एक person के पास अगर entrepreneurship रहेगा, if you are working somewhere, you are earning that money. But when you have that quality of entrepreneurship, you have that risk-taking ability, you have that innovation, you have that creativity, and if you start an enterprise or a business, you are not only earning profit for yourself, you are earning money for so many people. You are employing so many people. You are giving them an opportunity to earn their livelihood. So this is how, you know, entrepreneurship creates job opportunity. Now tell me, how does it contribute towards the country's economy? Yes, how does it contribute towards country's economy?
Ma'am, when the more people are employed, so automatically national income increases.
Okay, absolutely right. Where are the other commerce students today? And
Ma'am, ma'am, they also exported their papad. So when they are exporting, so foreign currency is coming into India. So I think so this would have increased the country's economy.
absolutely right, absolutely right. So when they are exporting, products, their own product, even a small packet of papad, when it is exported in a different country, the foreign currency is coming into our own country, and that is why, you know, they made they earned 100 million rupees in the year 2002 just by exports. So if you see, now whenever someone does something good for the community, do you think they need to be awarded or, you know, given some recognition? What kind of recognition be given, should be given to them? Yes.
Ma'am, some
अगर तुम
awards.
कुछ
Ma'am,
अच्छा
some
करते हो,
award.
award, okay. What else? Okay, so because this, you know, when such entrepreneurs, you know, when they take an opportunity and make, you know, billions of money, and they're providing job opportunities to so many people, you know, the government thinks that it is necessary that we, you know, recognize their efforts, we recognize their initiative, and we promote, you know, entrepreneurship to overcome the problems of unemployment and create, you know, give some thing towards the economic development also, matlab contribute towards the economic development. So the government came up with two such policies, not two, but there are more, but these are some of the policies that are related to skills and entrepreneurship. First is the national policy of skill development and entrepreneurship, and the next is Startup India. Now, ये नाम से क्या समझ में आता है? National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. ये नाम से क्या समझ में आता है?
Ma'am, Skill India, they help the individual to, you know, learn different type of skills.
Okay, wonderful. Absolutely right. So ये जो
And
ministry,
Startup India
yes.
is a, ma'am, Startup is India is one of the government this thing policy or something which helps women as well as backward class people to come forward to start their own business. Like they provide financial help to them.
Absolutely right. Not exactly, but yes, you are almost there. This Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, this is a Government of India का department है ये. यहाँ पे they are providing, training facilities to youth, so that, you know, wherever there is when there is a imbalance between the demand and supply of skilled manpower, कहीं पे ज्यादा डिमांड है लेकिन वहां पे स्किल्ड मैन पावर नहीं है, तो वहां पे ये लोगों को सप्लाई किया जाएगा, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स को वहां पे पहुंचाया जाएगा. So this, you know, building the vocational and technical training framework, this is what is the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship is doing. They are providing skills, they are providing training, entrepreneurship training to people, so that they stand up, you know, on their feet. They do not, they are not relied, they do not rely on. Yes, Someone is saying something? Okay. So what the government is saying is that if you don't have a job, it is okay. You start your own. Be that skilled that you can stand up on your own and start something on your own. And the Startup India, this is a flagship initiative of the government. It was intended to encourage the youth to come up with certain entrepreneurship ideas. You bring new ideas, technical digital anything that you feel that the country needs today. You come up with those ideas and we will support you. So that is what is Startup India. They give them financial aid, they give them networking opportunities, and that is how the youth of India is today trying to build their they are trying to be self-sufficient for themselves. Can you name some famous Indian startups? कुछ ऐसे सुना है startups?
Ola, Uber, Oyo.
Yes. Oyo. Uber is not Indian, but yes. Ola is Indian. Oyo is there.
Swiggy, Zomato. Now some
Flipkart.
Flipkart. Someone said Practo.
Meesho.
Sorry?
Meesho.
Meesho, yes, absolutely. So all these are famous Indian startups which are doing wonderful today. Oyo, there's Byju's, there is Swiggy, Nykaa, Lenskart, Big Basket. All these names have become so common. मतलब जितना हम लोग commonly कांदा बटाटा बोलते हैं उतना commonly हम Byju's and Swiggy and Lenskart and Big Basket बोलते हैं हमारे घर पे. So उतना common हो गया है ये startups हमारे इंडिया में, and उतना अच्छा कमा भी रहे हैं वो लोग. They are doing wonderful, and this is all because of the government support. Because sometimes it so happens कोई नया आता है तो हम they feel intimidated कि अरे government support करेगा या नहीं, हम succeed होंगे या नहीं. But अगर government support करेगा तो definitely they will they'll be ready to take any kind of risk, and they will think of becoming better and better. So these are some of the initiatives the government has helped you. So now all these startups, you saw Byju's, you saw Swiggy, and do you think all these startups and all these successful entrepreneurs got success immediately after they started the business? Do you think Swiggy ने अपना market एकदम से ऐसे बड़ा कर दिया? Yes?
No, ma'am.
No? So
No, ma'am.
why do you think that it is not that easy, or they did not do it immediately?
Miss, they must have gone through some losses at the beginning when they had their offers and all, I feel. But that was a way
Right.
for them to attract more customers.
Correct.
So they
Even
must
this
have covered up
Meesho,
the cost.
right. Even this Meesho, if you see, अगर हमको 2019 में मीशो के बारे में कोई बोलता तो हम बोलते रे फ्रॉड होगा रे बाबा, ये ऑनलाइन से सब खर्चा करना ना या ऑनलाइन से खरीदना ना बहुत रिस्की है बाबा, मैं तो नहीं खरीदूंगी, ऐसे लगता था. बट ये लॉकडाउन सब होने की वजह से दिस मीशो एंड सो मेनी अदर, दिस लेंसकार्ट, they bring their whole dukan at your place, and they show you frames, and then they do the eye checkup and everything at your home, and then they give you specs also, and that too in one day everything is done. मतलब चश्मा आने को थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, but still वो लोग घर पे आके ये सब कर रहे हैं. Do you think that was so easy for Lenskart? They might have gone through so many what to say roller coasters in their lives, in their business life. So every being an entrepreneur, or this entrepreneurship, it comes with risks, because it is a skill, it is a quality, it possess it is necessary that every student should possess this quality of entrepreneurship, but it does not come without the risk and responsibility. For example, if you take Ratan Tata itself, when they started that hatchback car Indica, तभी उनको इतना ज्यादा क्रिटिसिज्म्स मिला था कि ये कैसा ये दिखता है ये कार. People were not even ready to buy those cars. So what he did in 1999, he contacted Ford and he asked if they were interested, you know, to maybe buy it or invest on it. But then Ford, Bill Ford, the chairman of Ford, he insulted them. When you don't know anything why about passengers car, why did you even invest in it? Why did you even start the business? But when he insulted it, तो टाटा को थोड़ा ये तो लगा. But then that time Ford को भी यही झेलना पड़ा. They came up with Jaguar Land Rover and it was a terrible loss. And you know what happened? Mr. Ratan Tata, he bought that division of Ford, and he, you know, when he bought it, he went with so much of loss in buying it. But then that car that became a success. You know, so that time, this Mr. Ford, the Bill Ford said that you are doing us a favor by buying our company, and it made a profit of 2.33 lakh crores just by, by taking up. He made a loss of 1800 crores, but then when he made a profit, it was 2.33 lakhs. So just imagine if Ratan Tata can, go through all this ups and downs in his life, even we can, थोड़ा सा अगर हम पेशेंस रखें, थोड़ा हम गोल की तरफ हमारा ध्यान ना हटाए, तो even we can be better entrepreneurs. And it is very necessary that everybody has that, skill of entrepreneurship, so that whenever you feel कि नहीं अभी मुझे काम नहीं करना है, या I want to try something out new, you have that, वो push होना चाहिए अंदर से कि हाँ ठीक है, I'll start a business and I'll be totally dedicated towards this business. And that is what is, why this is necessary. So entrepreneurship is necessary. So वैसे ही हिंदी में एक पोयम है प्रेरणा, वहां पे इसमें कुछ पंक्तियां हैं. चाहे कितना भी हो घंघोर अंधेरा छाया, आस रखना कि किसी रोज उजाला होगा, रात की कोख ही से सुबह जन्म लेती है. ये ना सोचो कि जरा दूर दिखाई देगा, एक ही दीप से आगाज सफर कर लेना, रोशनी होगी जहां पर भी कदम रखोगे. So what the लेखक क्या कहना चाहते हैं, that प्रॉब्लम्स आएंगे, अंधेरा आएगा, बट वो अंधेरे के जाने के बाद सवेरा भी तो आता ही है ना. हर दिन सवेरा होता ही है. तो जैसे जैसे सवेरा होता है वैसे एक नया उम्मीद आता है हमारे लाइफ में, एक नया अपॉर्चुनिटी आता है. तो अगर कुछ लॉस होता है तो लॉस के बाद प्रॉफिट भी होगा, बट वो प्रॉफिट देखने के लिए हमारे पास पेशेंस की जरूरत होती है, हमको डेडिकेशन की जरूरत है. एंड ये मत सोचो कि थोड़ा थोड़ा सा ही बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉफिट नहीं होगा तो शायद लॉस में ही चलता जाएगा, बट थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ही तो प्रॉफिट ज्यादा होता है. अब टाटा का ही देख लो, उन लोगों ने इतना बड़ा एक लॉस में चलने वाला एयरलाइंस खरीदा है. यू ऑल नो राइट? Yes, no? You all know?
Yes.
Yes, good that you all are aware about what is happening around the country. So this is what the Lekhak is trying to say, that do not lose hope. Chahe, when you want, if this entrepreneurship, the skill, it comes with its risks, it comes with its responsibility, but that doesn't mean हम उसका वो risk उठाए नहीं या वो responsibility उठाए नहीं. So this was about entrepreneurship. This was about why it is important that every person needs to have that quality of creativity, innovation, risk-taking ability, responsibility. All these, everybody needs to have this quality, and only then you can think about different ways of earning money and being happy in your life. So this was about entrepreneurship. Let's do a recap. Now, who is an entrepreneurship? Can you all tell me? Fast. Keep your videos on. Who is an entrepreneur and who, needs to, what am I saying? Who is an entrepreneur and who needs, what is entrepreneurship? Come on.
The one who runs his or her own business. Ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
Someone who is willing to take the risk, who sees an opportunity
who applies his mind in a bit different direction, like not everyone else can think. Like he sees an opportunity how he can build to something. He creates that empire for himself. Even from the scratch, he has the ability to take that business to a higher level. He has the capability and ability to do it.
He take risk as well as liability, assets, everything, and he plan, managed, organized everything in a manner कि he can do in a like for everyone, it's like करके किसी को ज़्यादा loss ना हो. Even he bear a loss, but जो उसके laborers है उसको they get the payments on time, everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is what is this is who is an entrepreneur. Now, what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship क्या है?
The total process and activity
uh,
of business.
For example, like जो काम वैसे entrepreneurship कह सकते हैं. We can call it entrepreneurship. For example, leaders. Sorry, ma'am.
I couldn't hear you, Sarah.
Ma'am, the ones who are into that process and who are working continuously harder for achieving their goals. Yes.
Right, absolutely. So let's go on to the next question. So why is it important for a commerce student to possess the quality of entrepreneurship? एक commerce student को ये quality of entrepreneurship होना क्यों जरूरी है? Yes.
Commerce is all about the profit and loss, interest, some banking and all. So he or she must have the ability to manage that. How can we invest in some business, and would we get a profit or would we get a loss? So might be these are some reasons.
Okay, good attempt, good try. What else? Anybody wants to add something to it?
Ma'am, basically the commerce students have business mind, are the business minded person. Like some of the commerce students want to start their own business. So one of the quality of entrepreneurship is innovation and intelligence and patience. So the commerce student must have all the qualities, because starting they will suffer a lot, but after they have to work for it. What are the things which are keeping their business behind? What more things they can do, or what more things they can invent, like this.
Okay, absolutely right. So a commerce student,
Students take risk to in business.
Okay. So it is necessary for a commerce student to possess, not only a commerce student, but in fact all the students to possess the quality of entrepreneurship, because it so happens that बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं ना, as soon as when they बहुत young age से decide कर लेते हैं कि मुझे तो business करना है, मुझे ये business करना है, मुझे ये particular चीज बेचना है या ऐसे करना है, या मुझे shares में interest है. और जब ऐसे किसी का thought होता है तो it is very necessary that उनको ये risk taking abilities, ये innovation, ये creativity, ये सब उनके अंदर हो, ताकि वो proper decisions ले अपने business से related, अपने job से related, या even some people it so happens that उनके पास कोई already कोई business होता है उनके parents का and उनको take over करना होता है. तो जब तक उनके पास वो quality नहीं होगा वो take over कर नहीं पाएंगे. Take over करके भी they will not earn profits. So it is very necessary that students have this quality of entrepreneurship. Now name some Indian entrepreneurs.
Dhirubhai Ambani.
Dhirubhai Ambani. Okay.
Ratan Tata.
Ratan Tata.
Ma'am, Anand Mahindra. Anand
Yes.
Mahindra. Yes.
Yes.
Narayan Murthy.
Aditya Birla.
Aditya Birla. Okay, I'll tell you some more names.
Ma'am, one more is there, Godrej. Even Godrej has made a lot of,
Yes, so there is Lakshmi Mittal, there is Dhirubhai Ambani, there is Ratan Tata, there is Narayan Murthy, there is Shiv Nadar, Azim Premji, Adi Godrej, and Ramesh Agarwal. These are some of the names which have done wonderfully towards, they have shown extremely positive entrepreneurship qualities, which we, they are like textbooks for us. They are like, notes for us. We try to learn from them. They are not only thinking about money, they are thinking about the betterment of the society. They are thinking about every aspect. So these are some of the qualities that entrepreneurs, these wonderful entrepreneurs have. For if you see Mr. Narayan Murthy, he started with a IT company which failed, but then now he has Infosys, which has, people are dying. IT people are dying to work in Infosys. This is what these people have built. This empire that they have built. So we learned today about entrepreneurship. We saw some Indian entrepreneurs. We saw what are the different qualities that entrepreneurs need. We saw the different initiatives taken by government to promote entrepreneurship, and we saw how it is necessary that an entrepreneur does not lose hope. He needs to go on, because it जैसे वो पोएम में कहा गया था that after अंधेरे के बाद डे होता ही है, रात के बाद दिन होता ही है. So it is just like that. So after every loss you can make a profit, but you need to have that dedication. So this is for evaluation. This is a success story of Mrs. A. Tamil Selvi. She's a humble homemaker with 2 sons till her husband fell sick. She was educated only up to class 10, which cannot fetch her a job with decent salary to meet out the family expenses and the medical expenses to treat her husband. Determined to handle the issues on her own, she quickly decided to apply her tailoring skill and started stitching unit with 3 machines. The income was sufficient to handle the family core. When she was looking for expanding her income level, she came across National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises training at Periyar TBI through newspaper announcement. What she did was later that she attended the NIMSME training at Periyar TBI during the year 2010, which provided training in jute products making to women. And after the entrepreneurial inputs in achievement motivation, she realized that she got innate talents and felt confident about improving it a lot. She was very active during the entire training and was able to identify 2 of her core interests in jute products and women's parlor. She was referred to a jute product manufacturer for training. At the end of the EDP, she was able to make arrangements to start her venture, Sri Sai Bags. Tamil Selvi had pledged few of her gold ornaments and mobilized a small amount enough to buy the raw materials at subsidized rates. She trained few women tailors in sewing jute materials using power-operated sewing machines. Periyar TBI gave her all the above advices, which she followed meticulously. Periyar TBI also taught her to avail the internet services to see innovative designs for a product. She also got a bulk order of ₹3 lakhs from a Chennai-based customer immediately after the cover story article on her leading Tamil magazine, Our Vigadan. Now, Tamil Selvi is a preferred trainer for most of the state government schemes. She cleared all her financial commitments she incurred for her husband's medical treatments. She has put up her son in fashion designing course so that in the future, the mother-son duo will make the small unit into a big brand. Isn't it more motivating story? Now, I'll be asking you some questions regarding this. What was Mrs. Tamil Selvi's occupation? I missed the occupation. Before she took skill training from the National Institute for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. What did she do before getting the training?
Tailoring, sewing.
Tailoring, yes.
She started tailoring with 3 machines.
Okay, absolutely right. Then what kind of business did Mrs. Tamiselvi start after completing her course? Yes.
A small business of making bags.
Making what bags?
Jute bag.
Jute bags.
Tie bags.
Yes. Name some qualities of Mrs. Tamiselvi that you think are the qualities of a good entrepreneur.
Taking risk and being very creative and innovative.
Ma'am, she was ready to
Okay.
learn. She was ready to learn, and she even motivated her son to take up a course.
Absolutely. Now, how do you think
She
Mrs.
also
Tamiselvi
employed.
employed? Yes. How do you think Mrs. Tamiselvi challenged the gender stereotype here?
Ma'am, by becoming the person to earn at home, like his husband was ill with medical issues, so she was the only person who was earning.
Correct. So she took that responsibility of earning for her family. And what else? Something else? Yes, Deepika. Would you like to try? Anyone else?
She was very determined. She did not give up. She was very determined.
Yes.
Ma'am,
What else?
she sent her son for fashion designing. She sent her son for fashion designing then at that time, like.
Absolutely right. She sent her son for fashion designing course, which normally, only females go. But she was so dedicated towards her job that she said that once my son learns it, we will excel in our business. So she wanted the mother-son duo to do an excellent business. So this was about on entrepreneurship. This was a case study about Mrs. Tamiselvi and how she excelled with a small, skill of just sewing, stitching, and she made a big enterprise out of the skill. So this was about entrepreneurship. Now I'm giving you your home assignment, which is you have to write a film review on a movie made on an entrepreneur, focusing on their hardships and how they overcame them. This is your home assignment. If you all want, you all can click a screenshot of it, and I'll be checking the assignment in the next lecture. So I hope you all enjoyed the lecture.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay,
So over to you, Madam.
Thank you so much, Surekha ma'am, for that lesson. And I hope you have followed what she taught. You all have broadly understood, right? Now, compare your 10 lessons. I believe most of you have given 10 lessons so far in your respective practice teaching schools. 5 in semester 2 and another 5 to 6 in semester 3. Am I right? Tasbiha,
Yes, ma'am.
Yuvrani, right? Minimum आपने 10 दे दिया है. Maximum there are people who have already delivered 15 lessons so far. Okay. Now students, tell me, what are the unique features of those 10 lessons that you have delivered in your schools? Which components है ना के lesson plan के? What are those components of the lesson plan that you always have in any lesson plan?
Set induction.
Okay, set induction हो गया.
Values, core elements.
Core element, absolutely. Okay, fine. What else?
Teaching aids.
Teaching aids हो जाता है. ठीक है. Home assignment होता है. ठीक है. How about the content? What can you say about the content?
The content is different every time.
Sorry?
The content is different every time, ma'am.
Yeah, surely the content will be different, but the focus is on the content that is there in your hand. Am I right? अगर आप photosynthesis पढ़ा रहे हो तो आप in detail about photosynthesis ही पढ़ाते हो. अगर आप reflection of light पढ़ा रहे हो तो आप उसी को ही detail में पढ़ाओगे. Supposing आप force पढ़ा रहे हो तो आप detail में force के बारे में पढ़ाते हो. That is definition हो जाते हैं, examples हो जाते हैं, types of force हो जाते हैं, and उनके examples होते हैं. Am I right? So your content is very much focused. आपके objectives on track रहते हैं, right? So you not only have objectives, but you have in detail the specifications as well. आप कौन सी skill use कर रहे हो? Questioning technique है, brainstorming है, या आप illustration with example है, blackboard है, आप कौन सा skill use कर रहे हो वो भी आपका बहुत clear होता है. And what else? Your teaching methodology. It's very, very clear whether you want to have a lecture method or you want to have a question answer method over there, or do you want to have brainstorming? Do you want to have conduct a cooperative learning session? So your teaching methodology is also very clear. As you said, learning resources, that is nothing but your teaching aids are also very, very clear over there, right? And you have evaluation. So these are some components of your 10 regular lessons. Today we saw one lesson delivered by Surekha ma'am. And how was that one lesson different from the 10 lessons that you have delivered in school so far? How was it different? What was the difference over here? Elita.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, she linked it to different things like the poem which was there, which was in Hindi. So that was one part that ma'am linked it to, which
What
in
did she
normal
link to?
don't know.
What did she
About
link it to?
not giving up. It was about related to entrepreneurship, like not giving up, taking risk, and looking forward to hope.
Fine. Okay. Do I have commerce students over here? Commerce students, who are the commerce students?
Yes, miss.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Richa. Tell me, what did Surekha ma'am teach? What content did Surekha ma'am teach in today's class?
So Miss Surekha Miss thought about entrepreneurship and how taking risk and believing in the potential of your own unique skills, and then coming up. So she thought all of that.
So this was the central idea that she had in mind, right? Keeping this central idea in mind, how did Surekha ma'am start the session? What did she teach you all about?
She started with a few questions.
Real life.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Daily life experience.
Okay, daily life experience. But what was one thing that she taught you in the beginning? After she spoke about entrepreneurship, she definitely taught you something. Yes, Karishma.
Ma'am, during the beginning, she asked us about the vegetables that were available in 2000. That means it was correlated with history.
Okay. Or?
Miss mentioned about the mentor, the guide who was there behind.
Surekha ma'am, can you please tell them how did you start? That was your set induction about the vegetables, wherein you connected with entrepreneurship.
Yes, it was related to daily life and entrepreneurship. But then later I stepped into, if you all remember the sequence, what was the next part that I told you all about? Do you all remember?
Ma'am, example of Haldiram.
Haldiram entrepreneur.
Startups.
Okay. Yes. So when I spoke about Haldiram, where what kind of a business is Haldiram? I told you.
Family business.
So joint family business is a part of what subject exactly?
OCNS.
Accounts. Okay, it is a part of SP, OC, accounts, everything, but it is a part of this particular part was from SP, taken from SP. Then we came on to the next part, which was
Lijjat Papad.
So Lijjat Papad is what? What kind of a business?
Sole trading first.
Small scale, not a
Small
sole
scale.
thing. It's a small scale. Yes. So small scale industries is a chapter in the 11th standard textbook. Can you all tell me which subject this is from?
OCM. Business organization part 1, I think so.
It comes in 11th standard OCM. Okay. Then next we went up to what? After Lijjat Papad, we went to the next part, which was Startup India, the government initiatives, national policy of skill development and entrepreneurship. So that is a part of what, if you all remember or if you all know,
12th standard, OCM, third chapter. Entrepreneurship development.
Everything is related to 11th standard. Everything is from 11th standard.
Okay. So class, if you see all the concepts that ma'am was teaching in this particular class, okay, were all connected to one central idea. And what was that central idea that madam was connecting everything with?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship. If you see, she beautifully explained what entrepreneurship is by first talking about the different forms of businesses and how entrepreneurship is very, very essential in the different forms of business that you adopt. Then she moved on to small scale industries. There also she highlighted the importance of entrepreneurship. Moving, she went into, what was the next one? In economics, right? That was the economics content that she selected from standard 11. So what was that about? National policy for skill development, right? Wherein she spoke about Startup India. Sorry, Surekha ma'am?
It is a part where there are some initiatives taken by the government towards curbing unemployment in India. Okay, right? So there also she spoke about the importance of entrepreneurship and how it is very, very essential. And finally, she brought in this poem of Hindi, which is kind of motivational, a motivational poem, which instills in the reader that one should keep on striving to achieving their goal. And that is how an entrepreneur is supposed to be. So if you see this one central idea or the central theme, keeping that in mind, she taught content across all subjects in one particular standard. She did not jump from one standard to the other. What you're saying about forms of business, up the small scale industries, it is all there in some way or the other, not only in the 11th standard, but also in the 12th standard. So it might kind of overlap. So that is why you're feeling the have a 12th standard. But it is there in your 11th standard as well. And she has kept that in mind. If you see, she has selected the content from the textbook and then she has knitted it together around the central theme or the central idea. And that is what theme-based lesson is all about. Towards the end, she also tried to teach you about comprehension. That is, she gave you a passage, she made you all read it, or she rather read it, and she asked questions related to that particular passage which she read. Also, the passage that she selected was connected to the central theme, right? And finally, she gave you an evaluation question from English itself, right? So how many subjects did she try to teach you over here? Which were the different subjects? Tasmiya?
Yes, ma'am. She taught about economics, taught about commerce, and she connected with history.
First, she started with there was connection. I can say there was correlation, but she did not teach history over here. Understand? She was teaching 11th standard students, okay, of BCom, right? So keeping that in mind, she first taught you all SP. In under SP, what was the content that she taught you all, Sarah? Forms of?
Yes, forms of business.
She taught forms
Small
of business in
yes.
SP. So if you see in your 11th standard textbook, on what was the page number, Sureka ma'am?
Page
This
number
is page
16.
number 16 to 90. You have about forms of business in SP. Then she moved on. She taught about the different forms of business, connected it to the central idea, and she beautifully moved on to the next aspect, the next subject. And what was the next subject? That was OCM, wherein she taught you about small scale industries. Again, connected it to the theme, and then she beautifully moved on to the next subject. And now this next subject was economics. Then she taught the content from the economics textbook for 5 to 7 minutes. Then she moved on to Hindi. Again, there is a poem in your Hindi textbook, that is Prerna, right? That was the poem, Sureka ma'am, right? Then again, she teaches you that. Now, please understand, when you're teaching language, please understand what is the format or procedure of teaching language. जब आप language पढ़ाते हो, तो आपने बच्चों को बोलना है वो stanza पढ़े. On the basis of that stanza, you ask certain developmental questions, you develop vocabulary, and then you connect it to the central theme that you have, which Sureka madam did. She connected it to entrepreneurship and showed how the poet over here is beautifully telling us that if you want to be an entrepreneur, no doubt there will be many, many hurdles in your life, but you have to successfully overcome it and you have to strive to achieve whatever your goals are. And then she came down to teaching a particular comprehension passage from English language. So how many subjects were there over here? You had SP, you had OC, you had ECO, you had Hindi, and you had English. 5 subjects she taught in this class. Right? Now, what according to you then is a theme-based lesson? After you have looked at this demo, you explain in your own words what according to you is a theme-based lesson.
Ma'am, is it about, ma'am, can I try?
Yes, sir. Please
yes.
try.
Ma'am, is it about that having a particular theme? For example, like ma'am chose a theme that was about entrepreneurship. And then she, we can see that she also included all the other subjects into that one theme from the same standard.
Okay.
Like for example, from 11th standard only she took a Hindi poem also, which was based on that theme or which was, based on that particular theme, like entrepreneurship. Like you should have that prerna in us that we can see.
Absolutely. Okay. So
Yes.
basically, Sarah wants to say that madam के दिमाग में एक थीम था, वो थीम को मद्देनजर रखते हुए मैडम ने कंटेंट सिखाया from across different subjects from one particular standard only. है ना Sarah? आप यही बोलना चाहते हो ना?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Very good. So that is what theme-based lesson is all about. Let us look at the PPT. So what is our theme-based lesson? A theme-based lesson is nothing but the organization of your content, which is there in the curriculum, around a central theme, around a central idea that you have in mind, right? Now, which are the different types of themes that you can take? Madam ने कौन सा theme लिया था? Tasbiya, what was Sureka madam's theme for today's demo lesson?
Ma'am, entrepreneurship or business?
Entrepreneurship was her theme, wherein every time after she taught the content, she related it to the theme that she has in mind. When she introduced a new content, she had the theme in mind and she tried to use that theme to introduce the next concept that she wants to teach. Like that, आप कोई भी theme ले सकते हो. Theme can be cleanliness, theme can be hygiene, theme can be food safety, theme can be peace. और कोई themes आप मुझे बता सकते हैं? ममता?
Ma'am, justice, equality.
Justice, equality. और कौन सी themes हो सकती है? अमोल, are you there?
Ma'am, Amol has a lecture planned at 12:40.
Okay, Saurabh, are you there? Is Saurabh
Yes,
there
ma'am.
in the class? Saurabh, can you give me an example of theme?
Theme ka example would be this was entrepreneurship, and second example would be
साइंस में आप
literature.
देखिए, आप
Science.
मुझे साइंस में दिखाइए, साइंस में कौन सा थीम आ सकता है around which you can teach content.
साइंस में डे टू डे लाइफ पे it would be homemade science. I mean science with I mean using stuff which is readily available in your kitchen. How can you perform experiment? So that could be a theme.
Okay.
घर पे बैठे.
So your theme over here is very broad, you know, it's very broad. It's not at all specific. And also it's just a word that you are taking. Yes, Sarah.
Ma'am, innovation.
Okay, innovation can be a theme. Yes, of course. Anybody else?
Best out of waste.
Best out of waste. Can you specify it down?
Cooperation.
Sorry?
Cooperation.
I can't understand what you're saying, Priyanka.
Cooperation. She's trying to say
Cooperation. Okay. Cooperation can be a theme. So if you see over here, all these themes, there is something very unique about it. These are not just mere words. These are themes which will help you impart values in your students. Right? These are not just words that you are teaching. You are rather framing their vision in life. You are making them walk a path which will lead to the success of not only the student, but also as a result lead to the success of the nation. You are kind of making them understand the importance of the theme that you have selected. Cleanliness, it is very essential in today's time. Sustainable development could be a theme, which is the need of the hour, right? Entrepreneurship, need of the hour. Look at what has happened today with Tata. Tata, they have again got back their own airlines. That's the theme that needs to be developed in today's amongst today's students, right? You have peace, you have friendship as a theme. So you understand certain behavior of the students in your classroom, and you understand that this is what I need to develop in my students. Supposing that there is students in your classroom are very self-centered. They only look at their own development. They're not helping each other out. Here you can have teamwork as a theme. You can have cooperation as a theme. So you can decide on your theme depending on the class you have in your hand, depending on what is going around in your society. Whatever theme you take, please understand that the theme should be value leading. It should not just be a mere word. It should be something that instills some behavioral changes in the child for the good, right? So that theme has to be selected very intelligently. So theme-based lesson is a lesson that integrates the subjects across the curriculum of a particular standard. Across the curriculum, that is subjects like you have to take math, आप math ले सकते हो, आप science ले सकते हो, social studies, that is history, geography, economics ले सकते हो, languages ले सकते हो, right? So this is as far as school teaching is concerned. If you are teaching in your junior college, that is BCom faculty, then you will have subjects related to commerce. If you are teaching in junior college science, then you will have subjects related to science. वहाँ पर आप history, geography नहीं ला सकते, जो सब्जेक्ट बच्चा पढ़ रहा है उस पर्टिकुलर स्टैंडर्ड में, वही सब्जेक्ट्स के रिलेटेड आपको अपना थीम डेवलप करना है. Okay, so please understand all the activities that are in your lesson should have the focus towards the content, and the content should be focused towards the theme that you are trying to develop in your students. As I said, आपका जो theme है, it should be value laden. It should be a vehicle for teaching a range of values. You should be able to instill a range of values in your students through the content that you are teaching. So theme-based lesson is not merely teaching the content that is there. It moves beyond the four walls of the classroom. You are not training the child for the subject or to be able to understand the subject that you are teaching. Rather, you are training the child such that he becomes a fruitful member of the society. And in saying this, we thus say that theme-based lesson moves beyond the four walls of the classroom. Am I clear with this, everybody? Has everybody understood what is theme-based lesson? Class?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let us understand how are you going to plan your lesson. You will plan your lesson in such a way that series of subjects, if you are teaching from standard 5th to standard 9, then series of subjects like history, maths, English, language, Hindi language, etc. are related to your one particular theme. If you're teaching in junior college commerce, then you will teach a series of subjects like OCM, SP, accounts, economics, sometimes even mathematics and language, whichever language you are developing, are related to the theme that you are teaching. If you are teaching junior college science, then you will take up a theme wherein that theme connects to the series of subjects, that is biology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, and Hindi language or English language. Clear with this, everybody? So whatever your theme is, it has to be connected to the subjects that the child is learning in that particular class only. Do not jump between standards. Everybody clear with this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now please understand, Surekha ma'am ne is session mein, she started the session at around 11:40. Am I right, Surekha madam?
Yes, ma'am.
And she ended somewhere around 11:25. How many minutes was this?
45.
45 minutes. Okay, so this was junior college and you have 50-minute session over there. But when you are teaching in schools, if you are teaching through the offline mode, you will have only 30 minutes. If you are teaching through the online mode, you get 40 minutes, but actual teaching time you have is only 30 minutes. So please ensure that you are teaching not less than 3 subjects and not more than 5 subjects. Okay? कोशिश करिए कि 3 से कम ना हो. Minimum 3 you have to teach. Maximum it can go to 5, but keep it between 3 to 4 if you are teaching in schools. Am I clear with this, everybody? So if you are teaching, we'll see the examples at a later time. No, I will not discuss that now. Okay. Now you will tell me what are the benefits of a theme-based lesson. Come on, Pranita.
Ma'am, we are able to put in a particular value into the, we can instill that value into the minds of the students with the help of their own curriculum.
Absolutely. What else? So you are teaching them values. How does this value help the child?
Ma'am, maybe in being a responsible citizen, like if I take something related to nature or plants or trees, that could make them sensitive towards the existing problems and how they can cope up with it.
Absolutely. So you are in a way trying to make them see the connection of the content that you are learning today with the real life situation that is happening outside and what you are going to face when you move out of your school, when you move out into the real world. That is what Surekha ma'am did through and through. She continuously spoke about how an entrepreneur should be. Why is it important to be an entrepreneur? What are the challenges that you will face and how you can overcome those challenges? Throughout, she kept speaking about that. Here, the child sees the connection between what you are teaching with the real life. जो भी कंटेंट हम स्कूल में सीख रहे हैं, हम कॉलेज में सीख रहे हैं, वो रियल लाइफ से किस तरह से कनेक्टेड है, वो बच्चा देख रहा है. He is understanding the larger connections. Am I right, Pranita?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is it making sense to you all? What else is the importance of a theme-based lesson or benefit of theme-based lesson? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It helps to build a career. If a
It
child
helps the child. Okay.
to build a career.
Yes. अब क्योंकि मैडम ने entrepreneurship ऐसा एक theme लिया है, तो yes, of course, it helps the child to build a career. It helps them to be more prepared for the society when he moves out over there. What else? At school level, if I am taking unity as a theme, or if I am taking cleanliness as a theme, or if I am taking teamwork as a theme, how does it help? Yes, Sarah, you wanted to say something?
No, ma'am, no. I was
Somebody
done.
said, somebody wanted to say something.
Yes, ma'am. Siona.
Oh, yeah, Siona, tell me.
Yeah, ma'am. What happens at time is ki, there are some subjects that the child doesn't like, but when you include those, while explaining English, if I'm getting maths or if I'm getting science in between, so thoda sa wo, they think yes, they are learning English, but while that they also learn subjects that they usually don't really want to, or not, they are not really interested in that subject.
Absolutely, absolutely. When you connect, when you show this kind of connection, you show the child that अगर आप history पढ़ रहे हो, तो उसमें science भी connected है, science से math भी connected है, and जब वो एक बार उस flow में आता है, so it is more easier for him to be interested in that session, and he will really sit and learn whatever small topic you are teaching of mathematics. जब हम mathematics in depth पढ़ाते हैं for 30 minutes, the child loses his attention. But when you teach subjects only for 5 to 7 minutes, बच्चा interested होता है. Whether it will be with math or science or history or geography, the span of attention to learn a particular subject is very less. He will only be the actual learning, according to psychologists, takes place only in the first 10 to 15 minutes. After that, the child loses focus. But when you keep changing subjects, the span of attention is there. The child is interested in the class. He understands that, "Arey, abhi to hum history पढ़ रहे थे. How suddenly we moved on to science?" And now the child pays attention to what is being said about science. Suddenly there's a shift to mathematics. Now the child is paying attention to what concept in math the teacher is trying to develop. So with the help of these kind of lessons, the child is interested. The child is motivated. He will not lose interest. You are holding on to the interest of the child. Everybody clear with this? Siona, is there anything else you want to add?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So let us look at certain benefits that I have listed down over here. The child is engaged. He is interested in the learning process. It is away from the normal classroom teaching. So he is with the teacher. He understands the connections. That is, hum sirf subjects, we are not teaching them in isolated subject. We are showing them the connection that that particular concept has, or that particular theme has, with other subjects as well. This saves the time of the teacher. Imagine if you have to teach them about small scale industries, and you have to teach them about forms of businesses. Every time that you want to teach them, you have to have a separate set induction. You have to gear them up towards the new knowledge, and then you teach them the knowledge. So every time you waste at least 10 to 15 minutes to get the child towards learning the new subject. But here, the teacher teaches in continuation, and the child is already tuned to learning what you are teaching in the class. You don't every time need to have a set induction. That is how you save time. And yes, of course, as we have discussed, the child is able to draw the connection of the content that you are teaching with the real world and the real life experiences that he has had. So let us look at certain examples. Supposing if I have to teach them, my theme is about saving water. Okay, so I have this theme in my 7th standard class. What subjects do you think I can teach over here? Somebody who hasn't answered so far? Noshi?
Geography, science.
Who answered? Geography and science?
Sabya ma'am.
Sabya, okay. Geography से आप पढ़ा सकते हो, science से पढ़ा सकते हो. Noor, are you there?
Sorry ma'am.
Is Noor over there? Noor है, नौशीन है. आप बता सकते हैं कौन कौन से सब्जेक्ट्स हम पढ़ा सकते हैं और क्या टॉपिक है 7th स्टैंडर्ड में जो हम पढ़ा सकते हैं? Somebody is trying to answer, but I cannot understand. Who is that person? Jyoti, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Jyoti, in standard 7, we have this theme water. Which are the subjects that you would teach over here?
Ma'am, science definitely, because they have that what do you say, save the environment kind of thing. So we can show them the importance and what are the ways, like we can make them aware of how people are not getting water in the remote areas and how we are so blessed to get water in our cities 24/7.
Okay, so it seems that first she'll start with science and then she's moving to environmental education, right? Are these the two subjects that you're talking about, Jyoti?
Ma'am, subject about science.
Okay, in science only you're saying. Fine. So in science, you teach them about how we can save our environment. Fine. Apart from science, which other subjects can you teach over here?
Ma'am, we can take maths. We can talk about the percentage of water.
Okay, so probably you might be teaching them about what's that? Volume, no? Volume
yes,
of a cylinder, right? And
or
how
ratio
you can,
proportion also.
okay, ratio proportion, or these concepts you can teach them keeping water in mind, that if there is so much water in this particular container, how can you find out, or how can you calculate how much content can go inside, or what is the volume of that particular glass? Fine. So that is math that you can teach. What else can you teach?
And geography.
Geography. What in geography can you teach over here?
And we can tell about the scarcity of water in rural area and urban area. We can do the comparison, etc. So in
But
geography,
she has, I think, is it there in your 7th standard textbook? Anything about water?
No, ma'am.
In geography? No, you cannot artificially get a content and say that this is geography. That content has to be there in your science geography textbook. Like for example, in science, there is about protection of environment. So that is why she said, I will teach this. In math, she says ratio and proportion is there, and keeping water in mind, I will make them find out the ratio or the proportion. Okay? Keeping water in mind, she will have sums. History. What is
History,
history?
ma'am. Miss, we can speak about water harvesting and how it came about, like during the older, how it started water harvesting.
Okay, okay, fine. So if there is a chapter like that, then surely you can get that. Fine. Anything else? Geography mein she told me that she'll talk about rural area and urban area, but I doubt if there is anything like that in the 7th standard geography textbook. Yes.
Ma'am, in English there is a lesson about in time of silver rain. So maybe that we can.
Okay, very good, very good. I'm so happy you gave that example. So in the time of silver rain is not about water. In the time of silver rain is a poem which talks about happy times. And when those happy times were there, how our life was. So it is rain का मतलब पानी नहीं है, तो ये बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है कि किस तरह से आपको कंटेंट सिलेक्ट करना है. सिर्फ रेन वर्ड वहां आ गया, so it is related to water, वैसा नहीं है. आप पोएम को या लेसन जो भी आप पढ़ा रहे हो, पहले आप उसको अच्छे से पढ़िए, समझिए और देखिए कि क्या आप वो थीम को डेवलप कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. ठीक है? So that is one thing also that I wanted to tell you. Now, your Elita said that मैं हिस्ट्री से करूंगी, ज्योति ने कहा मैं ज्योग्राफी को सॉरी साइंस से पढ़ाऊंगी, किसी ने मैथ का कहा, किसी ने इंग्लिश का कहा. सब सब्जेक्ट्स में किसी ना किसी तरह से आप वाटर को डेवलप कर सकते हो. आप थीम वाटर से वाटर योर थीम यू कैन हैव दैट, बट यू हैव टू इंटेलिजेंटली स्टार्ट द lesson. So first over here, what I as a teacher would have planned is, I would first start with history and I would talk about how civilizations flourished due to the existence of water. So whether it be the Harappan civilization or the Indus Valley civilization or the Greek Valley civilization, everywhere there is water, and as a result of water, civilizations flourished, and that is what I will be talking about over here. After I have spoken about that, I move on to the properties of water, which is definitely there in my science textbook. After having spoken about that, I move on to water cycle, which is there in geography. And then I encourage my students to write a poem on the importance of water or a poem on how we need to save water. So keeping in mind whatever we have learned, I tell the students to write it in a poetic form. So probably I might have taught in the earlier classes all about rhyming scheme. So keeping the rhyming scheme AA, BB and CC in mind, I ask them to write a stanza about saving water. Right? So this is how I plan to develop this theme of save water in 7th standard class. So whenever you sit down to plan your lesson for a theme-based lesson, first open all the textbooks in front of you, try to see which theme can be developed, find the content that you are teaching. The content should be at least a minimum of 15 lines and a maximum of 25 lines. Okay, the content should be such that you have to teach that particular content for at least 5 to 7 minutes. Okay, and then you move on to the next content. ऐसा ना हो कि आप superficially पढ़ा रहे हैं. And there should, the content should be there in the textbook. ऐसा नहीं है होना चाहिए कि मैं कहीं से भी कुछ भी content create करके पढ़ा रही हूँ. Remember, the intention is to save the time of the teacher in the school, ना कि उसका time waste करना. Okay, so the content should be there in the text which you identify and which you teach, which saves your time. Okay, let's move ahead. So this is history, science, geography, and English language. Let's look at another beautiful theme, and that is harmony. Yes, Elita?
Excuse me, ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yes.
The River Valley civilization, you said you'll begin with that. So that content has to be then the 7th standard or the science thing, or it can be something that they already know.
It could be something that they might have learned in that particular class. Okay. It could be, they might have learned it in the earlier session also. Okay. Because see, y'all are going in the class in between the session. So I cannot say that, oh, आपने नहीं पढ़ाया होगा, आपसे पहले teacher ने पढ़ा दिया होगा, right? But when you are actually in your school and you are asked to plan your lessons right in the start of the year, that time you will identify the content which the child has not learned. But right now, because you all are pre-service teachers, already काफी कुछ पढ़ा दिया गया है स्कूल में, so आप उसके ऊपर control नहीं है, ठीक है?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So now let's look at harmony. Harmony as a theme. I feel that it is apt for the 8th standard class. Okay, so I first start with Raja Ram Mohan Roy in history. Here I talk to them about how he was a very staunch believer in Upanishads. However, he never let go of the other scriptures. He wanted to see how the other scriptures also equally impart the same values that are there in Upanishads. Maybe the way is different, but essentially the values, the teachings are the same in other religious texts as well. That is the Bible as well as the Quran. So I teach about that, and I tell them that see how he has beautifully, Raja Ram Mohan Roy is a beautiful example of how there can be peaceful coexistence and harmony between different religions, and our essential motto of life should be to get the best out of each religion and see how each religion is in harmony with the other. We also see harmony in science, wherein the teacher talks about chemical reaction. When two chemicals, when you see them in isolation, they may be dangerous. Like for example, we have carbon dioxide, which are the two chemicals which, we have hydrogen and we have oxygen. Separately, they are not of much use. But when you get them together, what does it produce? What does it produce? When hydrogen and oxygen they come together, क्या होता है? Sabia? Water होता है, right? So a beautiful combination comes together and produces something much more beautiful, and that is water. So we see harmony also in the chemical reactions that take place. Also, I teach them a poem. I introduce them this poem of Ebony and Ivory, and wherein the poem over here, the poet beautifully shows that there are white keys and there are black keys in the piano. But when the black keys are played in isolation, the music is not so great. When I play the white keys in isolation, the music is not that great. But when I play both the keys in harmony, a beautiful music is created, which brings peace to my mind and to my heart, right? So that is what this poem talks about, and that is the essential essence of this poem, which says that there should be harmony, whether whatever race you belong to, whatever religion you belong to, whatever culture you belong to, if there is harmony amongst all people living together, if there is harmony in gender, then something beautifully definitely will come into existence. So here I have taught them harmony, keeping history in mind. I teach them science, and I also teach them language. And finally, as home assignment, I can ask them to write down how they can inculcate harmony in their day-to-day life, or what have they understood about harmony. So this could be an essay that I ask them to write. It could be in Hindi language or English language. The choice is yours. Okay. Now, let's understand. I kept saying right from the beginning that आप जो कोई भी theme लेते हैं, please understand that it should be value laden, but also understand at the same time that values are taught. They are never taught. So you don't have to stand in the class and preach to your students that देखो एक साथ रहना है, एकजुट रहना है, लड़ाई झगड़ा नहीं करना, ये सब आपको कतई नहीं बोलना. You have to beautifully imbibe the value with the help of the lessons that you are teaching. So if you saw this lesson of harmony, you didn't really stand over there and you tell them that लड़ाई झगड़ा मत करिए, एक दूसरे के साथ में मिलजुल कर रहिए. Rather, you showed one example of Raja Ram Mohan Roy. You showed an example of hydrogen and oxygen coming together to produce water. You showed the example of the piano, the white keys and the black keys. And उसी से बच्चे ने ये सीखा that हमें एक peaceful coexistence होना चाहिए, right? So that is how you are supposed to teach them. Please understand that your theme has to be beautifully interwoven with the subjects that you are teaching. It should not look fabricated at all. Okay, in connections beautifully आना चाहिए. Understand that आपने developmental questions use करने हैं and connect it to the theme that you have in hand. Don't leave the theme hanging in the air. Okay, so what are the guidelines for preparing a theme-based lesson? सबसे पहले आपका जो theme है, it should be engaging. How will your theme be engaging? Imagine you are taking harmony as a theme for your 12th standard students, or you're taking harmony as a theme for your 5th graders. It will not make sense, right? So the theme should be age appropriate. The theme should be such that the child is interested in learning about that. Okay. Friendship as a theme you cannot have for your 11th and 12th standard. Forget 11th and 12th, आप 8th और 9th में भी friendship as a theme नहीं ले सकते. So have your theme which is very, very appropriate. It is grade appropriate. Have a lot of teaching learning experiences. Use a lot of examples. Like for example, Surekha ma'am ने आपको जब सिखाया, she took many examples from the day-to-day life because it is appropriate for the 11th and 12th standard students. Ensure that you have a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 subjects in the teaching learning process. Then the child will be interested in learning. There should be flexibility. Flexibility in terms that your lesson plan should be made in such a way that you can jump from one subject to the other subject very easily. Okay, you should contextualize your knowledge. That is, usko connect karo with the real life situation. It should not be that you are teaching a concept but uska koi connection hi nahi hai real life se. Then the child will lose interest. Subjects like ratio and proportion, जब आप connect नहीं करते हो, टॉपिक्स लाइक रेशियो एंड प्रोपोर्शन जब आप कनेक्ट नहीं करते हो, बच्चे को कनेक्शन समझ में नहीं आता है, उसे टॉपिक समझ में नहीं आता. लेकिन जब आप प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस सिखाते हो और उसको रियल लाइफ से कनेक्ट करते हो, बच्चा ब्यूटीफुली वो कॉन्सेप्ट को समझता है. वही चीज आप इंटरेस्ट जब ले आते हो उसके अंदर, सिंपल इंटरेस्ट जब ले आते हो तो बच्चा नहीं समझ पाता क्योंकि आप वो कनेक्शन नहीं दिखा पाते. सो बहुत इसेंशियल है कि जो भी आप कॉन्सेप्ट सिखा रहे हो उसको रियल लाइफ से आप कनेक्ट करिए. टाइम मैनेजमेंट को ध्यान रखिए. आपके पास कितना समय है? प्लीज इंश्योर दैट आप हर एक कंटेंट को इक्वल वेटेज देते हो एंड उसे ब्यूटीफुली कनेक्ट करते हो थीम के साथ. ऐसा ना हो कि थीम एक तरफ रह गया, आपने स्टार्टिंग में थीम को इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया, अब आप सिर्फ कंटेंट पढ़ाए जा रहे हो. 3 डिफरेंट कंटेंट्स आपने ले लिए, but there is no connection with the theme that you have in mind. So that should not be the case. There should be equal justice not only to the content that you are teaching but also the theme you are teaching. So every time you are teaching a new content, it has to be connected with the theme that you have in mind. Ensure that agar aap start kar rahe ho with activity, throughout there should be some level of interest and motivation that is there for the students. They should not lose interest in that particular lesson that you are teaching. They should be motivated towards learning. There should be a series of activities. There should be a series of developmental questions which will help the child be focused towards what you are teaching. So this is how you're going to be graded. We are going to see what is the rationale. आपने कौन सा थीम सिलेक्ट किया. अगर आपने एंटरप्रेन्योर लिया है, आपने वो थीम क्यों सिलेक्ट किया? व्हाट वाज द रीजन? क्यों ये स्टैंडर्ड में आपने ये थीम लिया है? Why have you selected this theme for these different subjects only? So that you have to state very clearly on your lesson plan. The theme has to be appropriate to the grade that you are teaching. It has to be interesting. The material that you are selecting to teach in that particular class, it should be in accordance with the theme. Material कुछ और, आपका theme कुछ और, वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए. आप supposing अगर आप बोल रहे हो कि मैं innovation कह रही हूँ, अब innovation से related आपने कुछ experiment भी तो करना होगा ना क्लास में. Innovation बोल रहे हो और आप सिर्फ CD use कर रहे हो या आप सिर्फ एक वीडियो दिखा रहे हो. That is not enough. The material should also be in conformity with the theme that you have in mind. आप बोल रहे हो protection of environment, and आप ही lesson में जो material लेके आए हो वो thermocol है या plastic है, so that will not be in coordination with the theme that you have in mind. Your theme has to be reflected in all the subjects that you are teaching in the class. The theme has to be incorporated, blended beautifully with the content. Fabricated नहीं लगना चाहिए. Okay, superficially आपने सिर्फ थीम को इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया, वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए. जो आप थीम लेसन पढ़ा रहे हो, थीम उसमें से आराम से निकल के आना चाहिए. Okay, also you as a teacher is the driving force in the class, is the main what do I say, is the leader, is the facilitator, which will make the child think critically about the content and how it is connecting to the theme. So yes, of course, आपके पास content रहेगा, but उसको किस तरह से आप beautifully connect करते हो with the theme is totally in the hands of the teacher. आपको ready-made textbook में नहीं मिलेगा theme. आपको थीम निकालना पड़ेगा, कंटेंट आपको बताएगा नहीं कि ये थीम डेवलप हुआ, वो आपको डेवलप करना पड़ेगा. So it is totally in your hands. And yes, of course, you should have some clearly stated objectives as to why you have devised this plan and how is it going to help you, or how is it going to bring about certain behavioral changes in your student. So rationale we have already discussed, that is in a paragraph form. You will write as to why this theme is appropriate for this particular grade to these particular contents that you have selected. So you will clearly state that right before, after you have written your first page and you move on to your next page to write down your objectives and specification, just before that, you will state your rationale. Okay. Moving ahead, so this is one example of a rationale for water as a theme. Next, you will write down your objectives very, very clearly, crisp and clear as to what are the behavioral objectives, what are the behavioral changes that you will see in the child after they go through this lesson plan. So they understand the concept of the importance of saving water. They understand how water, it is due to water that life existed, that civilizations flourished, how water is, the conservation of water is the need of the hour, which they learn through business, content and science, and so on and so forth. So whatever you are teaching, you will clearly state it over here. Materials, so of course you will list down what are the materials that you are going to be using in this lesson. So you will have a one-page synopsis which talks about all the teaching learning strategies and the materials that you are going to have, that you're going to use in this particular lesson. So it may not be just one-page synopsis, it is at least 3 to 4 pages that you have. Now label. Label is very, very important, and that I will show you as we move ahead on the next slide. Okay, but we'll just keep that on hold. Activities, again, it is nothing but your teaching learning activities that you will plan. Keeping your theme in mind, you will have various activities to teach that particular content, which beautifully talks about the theme. And you have certain discussion questions. Obviously, discussion questions के basis पर ही आप theme पर आते हो. Now, talking about discussion questions and label, if you see over here, I told you all that I am going to, in my standard 8, I had the theme that is harmony. In order to teach my students all about harmony, I started with Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and I have these series of discussion questions like, how many of you, I start by asking, how many of you speak more than 2 languages? What do you call a person who speak more than 2 languages, more than 2 or 3 languages? Then over here, I tell them that Raja Ram Mohan Roy was a linguist who mastered so many languages. Now, which are the books which are considered the earliest forms of Indian scriptures? So they will say probably Vedas, Upanishads. I ask them about Islam, so it is the Quran. I ask them about Christianity, they say Bible. Then your other teacher says that Raja Ram Mohan Roy made a comparative study of not only the Vedas with the Quran, but also with the Bible, and was convinced about the basic unity and harmony of the universal truths that are being imparted in all these religions. And now here I come down to my theme, wherein I tell them that Raja Ram Mohan Roy realized that while all religions had their own points of differences, they had certain essential points of commonalities. They spoke about universal truths, which in a way is showing the harmony that is reflected in various religions. And thus, students, it is really essential that we all live in harmony. No doubt that we belong to different religions, but we need to understand that we all should be in harmony because the teachings of all the religions is essentially the same. So can you see over here, I have the discussion questions, as a result of which I beautifully bring in the theme that I have in mind. And that is the labeling which I have to do in my lesson plan. So students, when you see Surekha Madam's lesson plan, she has beautifully shown over there the series of discussion questions she has, and then she has shown the label by highlighting over there the word theme and how she connects the content to the theme that she has in mind. Are we all clear with this, students? Pranita, editor,
Yes,
Sabiha,
ma'am.
Noshi, Noor, I hope you all have followed.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any doubts? So I believe there are no doubts, and we can move ahead. So students, let's understand that we have an education system which is always reforming, but we cannot really say that it is improving. And if you really want to bring about any form of improvement in the education system, then we don't really need effective teachers. What we need is effective teaching. And thus, in order to ensure that there is effective teaching, no doubt you all are effective teachers, but effective teaching plays a very, very important role. And if we want effective teaching, then you need to keep on upgrading your teaching methodology. So yes, of course, you have given those 10 lessons, keeping one method of teaching in mind. It is high time now you explore theme-based teaching and see how you can bring about effective teaching in the classroom. You have mastered the various skills of teaching. Now master the way of effective teaching. Okay, and that is what theme-based lesson is all about. Just coming to an end, well, there is this beautiful, what do you say, story that goes about, and that is about Jari Rana and this Zoroastrian priest. So Zoroastrians were tormented in their homeland, which is Persia. And as a result of which they migrated to India, and they sought permission to stay in India from the king, that is Jari Rana, that is the Rajput king. Now, as you are aware, Zoroastrians had their own peculiar language, which they spoke, which was unknown to this king. And the language that the king spoke was unknown to this priest. So let's look at what happened over here. When the Zoroastrians requested asylum, Jari Rana motioned, because he could not speak their language, he motioned to a vessel, which was filled to the brim with milk, to signify that his kingdom was already full and could not accept refugees. In response, one of the Zoroastrian priests, he added some sugar to the milk, thus indicating that they would not bring the vessel to overflowing, but indeed they would make the lives of the citizens much sweeter. Jari Rana gave shelter to the immigrants and permitted them to practice their religion and tradition freely. And that is exactly what theme-based lesson is all about. You will say that we are already full, there is already so much to teach, but understand, by bringing in theme-based method as a method of teaching, as an effective teaching strategy, you will not only teach the content, but you will also ensure that the students learn the content for life. They will never forget the connection that they see, the beautiful connection that you show them between all the subjects, keeping one particular theme. So with this, we come to the end of this session on theme-based lesson. If there are any doubts, you are free to ask.
Ma'am,
yes.
Is it necessary that we need to have our EC1 subject also included, or can we take subjects except for that?
You should have your EC1 subject, that is the crux.
Okay.
Okay. So your EC1, your EC2, both the subjects, try and have it when you are planning your lesson. So science students, goes without saying, math आपका part होना ही चाहिए of your planning. English students, goes without saying, history, geography should be a part of your planning of your theme-based lesson. But if there is, sometimes it happens that it's not there, it's just not possible, then it is okay. But EC1 तो आप कोशिश करिए ही करिए. There are 2 lessons, 2 theme-based lesson. Okay. So अगर आप EC1 subject ले रहे हो for the first lesson, then in the second lesson, please ensure that EC2 subject is there. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions? So if there are no questions, can we end the session? Sureka ma'am, a humble request, if you could share the lesson plan with the students after
Yes, yes.
2 o'clock. Please do not share before 2, please share after 2 o'clock. You can all start planning your theme-based lessons also. It may not happen, obviously, it will only take place after your Diwali vacations, but surely you can use your Diwali break to plan your two theme-based lessons. Okay?
Ma'am?
Yes, Anisha.
Ma'am, I have doubt regarding like we can take any topic or from anywhere the content, or like there is some specific content which we have to
You
take.
can take any theme you like, and in order to teach that theme, you can take any content from one particular textbook only. Please understand, first decide आप 2 theme based lessons लेना है आपको. So one theme based lesson should be anywhere between 5th to 7th standard, and your second theme based lesson should be between 8th and 9th standard only. So one in the lower grade and one in the higher grade. There should be a balance. ऐसा ना हो कि both your theme based lessons are in the lower grade. Okay, so maintain that balance. Also, yes, will.
Ma'am, but now as we are in CBSE, so do we have to take from CBSE textbook or
CBSE textbook?
Okay.
Because you are teaching CBSE students only, right? So
Okay.
let it be from the CBSE textbook. Yeah. Any other questions, students? Ankita, any questions? Sania, Mamta, Sabha? Yes,
Ma'am.
Sarah?
Yes, ma'am. My EC1 is economics, but I only have 2 standards with me. That is 9th and 10th standard.
Okay. So you can take one geography and you can take one economics.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah, आप economics ले लीजिए, and next आपका method क्या है? Economics and EC2 is
English.
English. So you can take English, no? English and geography आप ऐसा blend कर सकते हैं. So your first theme-based lesson will be economics, and the second one will be English.
So I can do it as geography and economics, na?
Geography, economics, English आप first ले सकते हो theme-based lesson, and the second theme-based lesson could be geography, English, history. Keeping that in mind, you can have it.
Okay.
But one has to be in your 9th standard.
Okay.
So Rekha ma'am, you want to say something?
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay. Anybody else with any more questions?
Miss, how do we get the other subject textbooks? Like we have
It's easily available online. We have already quite a number of times we have shared the link, eBal Bharti website. You have all the textbooks available over there.
Yeah. Yes.
In PDF
Okay,
format.
Miss.
Yeah. So you
Yes.
can first decide the theme and the standard, and then accordingly you can download those textbooks. Okay.
Yes.
So the best option will be if you can click on that PDF, open the PDF, and supposing your theme is, say for example, protection of environment. So you can just click on the words protection of environment or save water, something like that, and you will easily come to know where all in that particular PDF do you have the content related to your theme. Any other
Yes.
questions?
Thank you, Miss.
So if there are no more questions, questions, Nosheen? Fine. So I think we can call it a day and end this session.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Bye.